Tony LaGreca remembers his son Matthew's long struggle with prescription opioids, which ended his life in 2014.
Almost 20 years hooked on pills.
Yeah. And at the end, there was like no one would even speak to him but me.
His son's addiction, he says, started with just a single bottle of OxyContin.
People say if he is used as directed, well, the drug abuses the patient because the drug is what takes control of their brain.
A Massachusetts lawsuit is the first to name some of Purdue Pharma's owners, 8 members of the Sackler family and other executives, claiming they participated in a deadly and illegal scheme. The lawsuit cites portions of newly obtained emails and memos from then-President Richard Sackler. He once said the launch of OxyContin pills would create a blizzard of prescriptions that will bury the competition. In an email, Mr. Sackler wrote, "We have to hammer on the abusers. They're the culprits and the problem."
A big day in court.
Maura Healey is Massachusetts Attorney General.
You're saying they knew that this was addictive. They knew people were dying. And it was greed that drove them forward?
Of course it was greed. They don't want to accept blame for this. They blame doctors. They blame prescribers. And worst of all, they blame patients.
In a statement, Purdue Pharma calls the Massachusetts lawsuit a rush to vilify the drug maker, adding it cherry-picked from among tens of millions of emails and other business documents. As for Tony LaGreca, he's seen enough.
Truthfully, I'd like to see Purdue Pharma go broke.
What about the Sackler family?
I'd like to see the heirs of the Sackler family put in jail, because that's where they belong.
The Sackler name is already famous in some circles. In fact, here at Tufts, more than 200 students go to the Sackler School. And in fact, from Beijing all the way to Palo Alto, back here to Boston, you can find the Sackler name tied to major institutions. But here's the thing. Where you will not find the Sackler name is often tied to the pharmaceutical company that made it rich or the deadly drug crisis that some members of the family are now accused of creating.
It's an epidemic we've covered from just about every side.
And you think it's peaked?
I mean, it couldn't get much worse.
From overdoses
It's breaking my heart.
to recovery.
I was 2 minutes away from not being able to be here.
From the DEA trying to control abuse
It scares the hell out of me.
to a former Purdue pharmaceutical sales rep who fears she may have added to the problem.
It was always in the back of my mind that maybe the company had not told us the whole truth.
But now the Attorney General of Massachusetts has shifted attention to something new, alleging 8 members of the Sackler family caused much of the opioid epidemic by controlling a deceptive sales campaign for their blockbuster drug, OxyContin. The company calls it a rush to vilify, claiming the Attorney General cherry-picked from among millions of documents. But none of the family members named in the lawsuit have commented.
Their policy until now has been to be utterly silent, never make a comment about the opioid epidemic, and never acknowledge their connection.
Christopher Glazik wrote an article on the Sacklers for Esquire magazine, researching the 3 brothers who developed the family business, Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond.
They were all very avid businessmen.
What do you mean by that?
They were all hell-bent on becoming super rich.
Arthur first got rich as a marketer, Glazik says, turning a different company's pill, Valium, into America's top-selling drug.
Arthur's idea was, why don't we take this drug and give it to all kinds of patients for all kinds of ailments? Patients who have headaches, who have trouble sleeping, sexual problems.
Arthur died years before OxyContin came to market. But Glazik says his brothers and their families applied Arthur's marketing methods to sell the drug as widely as possible. It turned them into one of the 20 richest families in the U.S., according to Forbes, with a multi-billion-dollar fortune, but a very low profile.
At this point, the Sackler family has homes all over the world, including on this block, one of the most exclusive in New York City. While members of the family have sat on the board of Purdue for decades, none of them have ever sat for an interview. We're stopping by in hopes of changing that.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Tony DeCopel with CBS News.
Yes, sir.
Are you one of the Sackler